Okay, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, I guess for me, my fellow East Coasters, like Anne Marie here, but wherever this finds you, greetings. And I guess for some of you, right, we're done, school's out for the summer, right? So down by you, Anne Marie, right, South
Yeah.
Carolina, we're done.
Yep.
Or I think a large part of the
Yeah,
South, we're done. We still, we're still making up snow days here and got our longer schedule as usual, but. Um,
for
Yeah,
sure.
thanks for tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to us or welcome back. We'll just do quick introductions here and then kind of get into the task at hand. My name is Matt Carpenter. I'm a founder at College Aid Pro here. The point of these conversations, right, is usually we do this every other Wednesday. We might play hooky a couple times over the summer here. We need to play hooky too, but is we'll usually once a month we'll kind of talk about something specific, and then the other time is more of an open grab bag, and our whole job is just to be a resource for you all. I say something all the time, or something I say all the time is like us being College Aid Pro and you all being school counselors. We're the tip of the spear to help families navigate this process, and from our first language is specifically on the affordability piece, and just to make sure that we have great outcomes, right? Do everything that we can to have great outcomes, great ROIs for students and their families, right? And it's easier said than done, so that's why we're always finding ourselves pretty busy, especially with an administration making some pretty whole significant changes, or at least proposed changes. So anyways, welcome. Okay, if you're new, and welcome back. If you're not, Anne Marie, she is our for those of you that don't know her, she is our high school partnerships manager, and really kind of the point of contact for you all. So any questions you have, she's kind of the first line of defense. For those of you that partner with us, she's helping you schedule events and make sure that the software is working. But Anne Marie, you want to say hi quick, and I'll dive
Hi.
in here. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just I'm here to help and do whatever I can to make your job easier. So happy to be here.
Yep, likewise. And yeah, I know it's May's a little bit of a nutty time with graduations and everything
Right.
else. Um, okay, so a couple of quick things again before I show you the latest and greatest with the platform of the software itself. More than we ever have historically, we're seeing schools continue to give more money, right? This far, we're basically a month after May 1st here, and we are still seeing schools throw out again meaningful amounts of money, and especially those that are a little bit worried about enrollment, right? I think there was an overcorrection this year where a lot of colleges were really scared of over enrolling, and for some of them the pendulum swung too far, right? And so they had these huge wait lists, for example, tons of deferment, as you all saw this year. And now some are still kind of like, oh boy, we got some empty beds here. So Syracuse is one we've been flagging. We've seen them throw out 30,000 more dollars, 25,000 more dollars. A couple of the other names are escaping me, but I share all that to say that parents should still be asking, students and parents should still be asking, going back to their colleges to see if they can get a better deal. Maybe they didn't even appeal at all. It's not too late. Maybe they did appeal and they got denied, right? We've had a lot of families have success with after the initial no, going back and getting a better result, or maybe they had some success in the first appeal, now going back at this late stage of the game a second time and having some success. So again, we're seeing this. This has been more prevalent than we've ever seen. I've been doing this for 20 years, and there's not really a close second. The second place is last year, but again, that's a distant second compared to this year. So that's something that I would be screaming from the mountaintops as you are communicating with your specifically class 2025 families. And if you have any line of communication with, students and families that are already in college, I would share that as well. Let's see. We have the federal student the federal loans rates have been announced, right as we've been predicting for a while, right? As most of you know, these rates are tied to the 10-year Treasury, so the writing's been on the wall here. But the plus loan is staying right around 9%. It came just a fraction under, I think 8.94 exactly, but effectively 9%. Last year was 9.08. So negligible difference down. Also, we can't forget about that origination fee of 4%. So effectively, we're borrowing at 10% via the plus loan. The federal direct student loan, it was 6.5 last year, came down to like 6.34. So again, negligible difference. At least it moved in advantageous direction, but I don't think one that's going to be very impactful. Another note on the federal direct student loan, if any of you listen to our podcast that Peggy and I do each week, and if you have the link, Amory, if you want to pop it in the chat, check it out, consider it, follow us, whatever. But we geek out in this kind of space that we're in, and today actually we recorded earlier this morning. It'll go live tomorrow, I think. But the we talk about all this big, beautiful bill, specifically in the education space. What's actually has passed? Okay, a couple big things passed. It still has to pass through the Senate, right? So it's not this is not a done deal, but one of the first major hurdles have been cleared. And one of these changes is that there will not be beginning next July, so a year from this summer, so impacting class 2026, there won't be any um, subsidized federal direct student loan, right? So right now, if your SAI is low enough, you're eligible for federal direct student loan to be subsidized up to 19,000 over the course of 4 years, right? That's going away. So everybody is going to pay some interest regardless of your SAI. And the name of the podcast is College with an exclamation point, which is very important. Yeah, creative name that we have there. So that's a note on the federal loan rates and the federal direct student loan. Something that we have been getting smarter at every year is just learning kind of the inner workings of how these private student loans and parent loans work. This is more important than it's ever been because what the federal government is saying and is starting to do now is say we're getting out of the loan business, or we're certainly pulling back from it. So 90% of families right now borrow through the 92% and change borrow through exclusively through the federal government, right? They have by far the biggest market share. Um, so that is going to decrease in a meaningful way. So we're going to have huge influence with the private student loan market. These guys are a little bit trickier as a whole. I'm generalizing here, but there are a lot of similarities between each of these lenders. But what makes it really hard is that they change in real time. So we will start doing presentations on a weekly basis, really focused on all things loans and how to pay the bill, and do I use my 529 up front, or what about if grandparents are contributing? We'll talk about all that stuff, but I think that the most challenging part is how fluid the private lender market is, because it once we get really into peak season, it is very common for us to make different recommendations based on the week for private student lenders, because who could be the best, most competitive lender this week in terms of rates and repayment terms for end users. They might grab their market share and they're content, so they get less competitive, right? And whereas now this other lender that's running behind will say, okay, we need to catch up. We're behind for the season, so we're going to drop our rates significantly in order to go grab some market share. So we have to pay very close attention to this, and so do borrowers, right? So there's absolute, and it can be a huge difference on when we borrow and who we borrow through. So just keep that in mind. Use this as a resource. Matter of fact, we're doing a presentation tonight at 7 Eastern time around all of this, but it'll start to be, if not every week, just about every week through summer. And that'll be one of the biggest value adds. The rest of the information will stay more or less static. But in terms of who's going to be the best option for borrowers, that changes all the time. There's a little bit of the wild, wild west there. I share all that to say, please share our resources out there. Just we'll be sending all of that to you all as well. So Okay, so drum roll, please. Let's see. Let's take a look at the new platform. The big reveal here, right? So this is going to be our new end user interface. Now, in terms of how this impacts you school counselors, in the short term, really not at all. Those of you that already partner with us, that already have a portal, a login just for school counselors, so you have visibility into your school and or your district. That experience is not going to change in the short term. Uh, but starting, knock on wood here, barring the unexpected, midnight this Friday, so that's the 30th here. Um, and by the way, you might have seen some of these emails, you probably have, but all current users, we've been notifying them, dripping on them in kind of a progression over the last month or so to say, hey, you're going to have a new experience, new and improved, but a new experience starting on this date, right? So they have been kept up to speed that this change is coming, and we're getting more and more specific with each notification that we're sending them. So we've tried to be very cognizant in trying to make this transition as painless as possible on everybody. And again, we're really proud of this. This is absolutely an enhancement, but we all know the feeling of kind of just being used to an experience, and even if it changes for the better, it can be annoying because it just changed, right? And we were used to the old deal. Okay, and I will also tease that for counselors, one of the next iterations into and improvements with the overall platform is you're going to have a new experience and just a much better experience than you do currently. I don't want to promise a timeline there. We're working our butts off to hopefully make it happen by this fall, during the fall.
Proud
Uh,
of you, Matt. That's improvement.
yeah, I
Look at
mean, look,
you.
I mean, it's we're 6 months. You could argue a year and 6 months behind on this launch. Um,
But you know what?
Generously,
It's amazing and it's going to be just such a better user-friendly tool.
I think so. It
Mhm.
freaking better be. I am. Let's
It
put it that
is.
way. Yeah, yeah.
Lots of
Um,
lots of sweat and tears.
and thank you for this note. I'll say it now and say it at the end, but I am going to be at NEACAC. So was it the New England Association of College Admissions Counselors, right? Is that it, right? So right in my backyard here, quite literally my hometown. It's in Beverly, Mass, at Endicott College. Which, if you're even thinking about it and you live in the area or you're in New England, like go. Endicott is spectacular. It's like carved into the cliffs right on the ocean. They're going to do an amazing job. They're going to put on an amazing conference. And it's a really, really cool school for lots of reasons. If you haven't been there or haven't taken a look at it for your students, we love it because the students, and I think I'm surprised more colleges don't do this, but they have an incredibly robust um, intern program, right? You have to do at least one part-time as an underclassman, and for your senior year, you have to do a full-time, kind of 9 to 5 internship. And these kids just come out so polished, and we have benefited from many of them. Our office is in here in Salem, just over the bridge, so we have plucked many of them. They never cease to amaze us, and we're lucky enough to have one of the studs. Actually, our first intern from Endicott is now one of the, I don't know, core pillars of the company, right? And we're lucky
Yes,
to have her.
very much.
Jared Barrett, shout out, getting married
Yeah.
2 weeks. So
After she, of course, attends NEACAC, right?
after Nyack, of course, she will be there as well, marrying her Endicott, marrying Rain, her boy that she met at Endicott. So, anyways, nice plug for Endicott there. But come say hi. Come say hi if any of you are going to be at Nyack. So this is going to be the students kind of home dashboard here. A couple things. This will constantly be updated. Here's all of our upcoming events. So you'll see, here's tonight's borrowing workshop. They can sign up for any of these through here. This is all of our kind of real-time content, right? So they're going to get their weekly scholarships list here. All of the content that we produce will kind of come through this real-time feed. Um, I think we've done a pretty good job at making the onboarding an iteration easier. we're always having to strike this balance between, asking as few questions as possible and as an intuitive way as possible, but still having enough data and information to make accurate projections, right? So after they onboard, they'll kind of get dumped in here, and we'll see their federal SAI staring them in the face, their institutional SAI, and then their self-calculated budget here. We always want those front and center. And then at any time, we'll always have access to our school list. And as they go through, again, we've tried to make it like this timeline, step-by-step process from A to Z. And when they're done with any section, they mark it as complete, and we're kind of on to the next. So I can put in any college here, right? So if I want to just see what the deal is at, you know, um, Northwestern, I can do that and at least have some, again, high level information. What's the sticker price? What am I gonna pay here? I want to add this school to my list. I can do that. Our really most powerful thing is helping families find obviously admissions fits, but having them match with affordability, right? So, I can choose from dozens of admissions filters, but let's just say I want a smaller school and I want to be, relatively close to home, and maybe I know that I want to major, or I'm thinking about majoring in bio, right? I can apply these filters, but then I can just go sort based on any number of things. So let's just say we're not eligible for need-based financial aid. I can just sort based on who's going to give me the most in merit-based scholarships, right? If I want to take a deep dive, right, any one of these schools, so let's go, pick on the College of Wooster here, out in the Midwest. If I want to take a closer look here, we have a similar concept where again, kind of at the top of each part of the experience we're focusing on, we have different things that we can see. But right out of the gates, we'll see, okay, how does this school do according to some of the rankings? We're not big rankings, people as a firm, but we just know a lot of end users, parents, and students still value that, right? I'm sure most counselors agree with us that to not put too much stock into these things, but whatever. And then we have sort of, again, some of their, okay, what's their acceptance rate? What's the average GPA, test score, et cetera. Um, give me the financial specifics, right? How do they do with need-based financial aid, right? Wooster, pretty good. They meet 96% of aid. A lot of that is in with need-based grants. How do they do with merit? 26% receive merit. Here's the average merit award that these students receive, and we rank everybody on their transparency, right? And you can always kind of click deeper if you want. And then we want to try to help families understand not just what the school is going to cost you year one, but all 4 years, right? What's their sticker price? What are you going to pay ultimately? This family sees their financial aid go way up in years 3 and 4 because they've told us that they have a younger sibling that will be going to college 2 years behind them. College of Wooster, fortunately, not like is one of these schools that will still consider that in your favor. Not everybody will, right? For every college in the country, we have every single scholarship that they offer, the qualifications for each. We're really good at projecting, well, how much is this kid going to get, right? And we're confident that this is what they're going to receive based on their GPA, based on their test scores, et cetera. And at any point, students can change their information, so they can say, well, what if my ACT score goes up by 3 points? How will that impact scholarships here? What if our income doubles? How will that impact need-based financial aid eligibility, right? So in real time, they can kind of play with those changes and see how it impacts outcomes, right? Affordability, this is something we always want to keep front of mind. In short, this is we feel like this will be a good outcome, okay? What does that mean? Okay. Well, here's the 4 year net cost. This is this family's budget. So this is how much somebody is going to have to borrow. And if we are borrowing less than we expect a student to make year one after graduation, that's a good outcome. If we're borrowing below the federal direct student loan at 27,000, that's a great outcome, right? And obviously the dream, which is a dream for most of us, is no loans at all. Okay. Um, and again, just some other statistics, school by school, major by major, here's what the average starting salary is at this school, with this major, which we think is powerful data for families to have, right? Um, and then once they get accepted, they'll upload their award letters here. We will translate it, okay, and then tell them did you get a good deal, right? Coming soon will go away once they upload that award, and I'll show you a different experience for the how to pay model here. So, anyways, this is how we're trying to provide a ton of value in this list building part of the process, both for you all and for end users, to use on their own. Number one, show me what schools are actually going to cost my family, not just 1 year, but all 4 years versus my budget. And then, how can I actually shop for schools that are going to go fit within that budget, right? Um, and this is just kind of another, you know, visual in terms of, their school list, how it is spread out geographically here. Okay. Okay, now this is just trying to give them a decent visual of their overall kind of affordability heat map, if you will, right? And we're trying to help coach families to say, hey, we don't want too many schools up in here that are highly selective, and we're hitting the kind of caution button on the affordability component. Meaning, and again, specifically, it means it looks like we're going to have to borrow more than we expect to make the first year after graduation. Okay. So anything from here over on the affordability thing is great. And it doesn't mean we're not going to take a shot and have some reaches, even from a financial perspective, too. But we want to have some diversity, right? When we look at school lists, if everybody's buried here in the top left, um, again, that's where we're going to want to say, hey, let's make sure that we diversify here. They have the ability to change their budget in real time right here, right? Okay, here's how much I have my 529. Here's some other resources. Our grandparents contributing anything. So they can adjust their budget just like they can adjust anything else, and it will repopulate and give them a better idea of again, where schools fit on that affordability spectrum. Okay, now once they've told us where they are actually applying, they will add schools. And by the way, this does not go live till Friday here. Um, they will say, okay, here's where I'm applying. I'm applying to these 10 colleges. And they will, once they've told us that and how they're applying, right? Regular decision versus early decision, early action, etc. We show them exactly what financial aid applications they require, and do they require the non-custodial, in addition to the IDOC. We'll have due dates, right, based on, if they applied early, when are the financial aid applications due. And then really, Peggy does an amazing job with her line by line instructions through the FAFSA and through the CSS profile. So obviously, once we've got our list built and we know where we're applying, we want to make sure they understand what financial aid applications they are need to complete, and best practice for how to complete those, in a really, really great way here. Okay. And then once we've done that, we give families, and families find out where they've been accepted. They're going to upload their financial aid award letters here. Okay. And it'll just give them a different way to, number one, just see high level, okay, how much are each of these schools going to cost me actually now that I have my award. And then we also translate these award letters for them, right? So help them. You guys know how different these award letters can be presented, 914 different ways last year based on our research. We put them into one uniform financial aid award letter so they can really understand, okay, what's a loan, what's a grant that's driven by need that could change from 1 year to the next versus merit that's given based on the student's credentials that we can expect a flat line from 1 year to the next. So, you guys know how confusing that part of the process can be. And then the next step here is once they've uploaded awards, and they can just drag them. They'll be showing right here, but all they do is they drag them down here and we tell them we evaluate the award. We say, was this a fair offer based on the college and based on your profile? If we think you were under awarded, by how much were you under awarded? So, in other words, when you go back to Northwestern University, how much more should you ask for, and then why? Is it based on the fact that you're a business owner, that you're a two household family? Um, these are some of the common things that we would flag to say you have a good chance to appeal here. So this is where we'll provide some of that specific recommendations and context, and we'll also have some really robust templates to say, okay, if we're appealing for more merit, what does a good letter look like? If we're appealing for more need, what does a good award look like? Okay. Um, and then this is just an exercise to say, okay, it's time to pay the bill. How should I do this, right? And so this is just kind of a waterfall chart where it says, okay, well, here's the cost of attendance or sticker price at Endicott. We got this much in financial aid. We can do this much out of our budget. So at the moment right now, we have a funding gap of 5,500, right? So maybe we say, okay, well, for starters, we're going to take out, we're going to do, 5,500 in the federal direct student loan. And you'll see this will kind of populate in real time here. Maybe we say, hey, the grandparents, we thought they were going to give 500 bucks, but they're going to give 2,000, right? So, okay, now our funding gap is about $10,000, right? And this is all, again, as you're seeing here in real time. And we've already uploaded the award letter here, but if there's any changes, our outside scholarships, maybe we've got 1,000 for our outside scholarships. Okay, now we only have to borrow 9,000, and it's going to give us some for whatever school we put in here. I guess it won't do it for Endicott here, but for this one is Boston University. But once we say, here's where I'm going, um, and we've kind of gone through that exercise here. It's going to give us some steps on the best way to borrow. Okay, so here's the sticker price, right? Here's your budget in this example. We didn't get any financial aid, so our funding gap is 68,000, right? First, we're going to recommend you take the federal direct student loan. Then we want to see what you do, what you get for a rate in the private sector, right? And you can see all the loan rates from the private sector here. And then we want families to compare that to their state options, right? And we'll have all those resources in here. And then how does that look versus the plus loan, the federal option? So this is again kind of step-by-step instructions for families that do need to borrow what is best practice, and there is not one universal one size fits all. But following these steps will help families get to their best option. Okay. Um, and then kind of finally, here will be almost think of for those Spotify users, this is going to be like a Spotify wrapped type of experience, right? We'll say, okay, here's all the colleges that you searched and you applied to this many. Here's how many you got into. Here's the total amount you got from grants and scholarships. Here's the amount you saved on whether, again, it was appeals or things like this. So, and this is currently, uh, at the finish line in terms of being ready to go Friday here. So some more things are coming on here, but it's a pretty cool, um, I think, a nice like, okay, you did it, guys, and here's a little bit of a summary of the experience. So again, that's kind of I don't know, and this will actually be like okay, what's next information for you? Awesome, you're going off to BU, but this information here will be more focused on, you got pros and cons of choosing, tuition insurance. What's the stuff you need to know about, the HIPAA laws, and most parents don't know that, if the kids are 18, you won't even get to see their grades unless you sign certain things. And then a reminder that, hey, we got to reapply for financial aid every year. And we're going to be doing it again in just a few short months. So, anyways, that's when we say what's next, it'll be that type of information and guidance there. Okay. Yeah, and guys, what I'm showing here is the free version for all families, right? So all families will have access to what we are seeing here. Our guardrails in terms of what goes, behind the paywall will just limit the total amount of schools that they can put in here. So for the free version, they can only put in 3 colleges. So I guess I'm in that sense of they'll have access to the entire experience in the free version, but they can only put in 3 schools in the free version. Um, we are also making this announcement next week. We are switching our fee structure. The premium version moving forward will be $4.99 a month for all users. So $5 a month. Cancel at any time. That's going to be the deal. And then for free and reduced lunch families, they get it for free. Or if anybody just tells us, hey, I'd love to use the premium version, but I can't afford $5 a month, we'll get them on there for free. That's something that we've always done, and we don't vet that or whatever. We take people at face value. So we're doing everything in our power to make this accessible to everybody. And I think we're putting um, our money where our mouth is. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're doing behind the scenes this week that's less sexy and less fun is like, for example, some people are paying us more for the premium version right now. So we have to switch over their billing to have them go for that, that we're paying X amount a month, but we have to, course correct that here. So anyways, that's kind of the deal here. Okay. Amory, any commentary or questions that I should address or anything that I'm
No, I think I get every time we get on here and I look through, I'm seeing new, really cool features. Um, I am again a mom of college kids and a high schooler, so just really user friendly. And there's a lot of things in there that had been requested over the last few years that I'm super excited, and I hope school counselors are seeing those really cool tools that will make their job easier. So um, I have posted a couple links in the chat for everyone to check out our free counselor resources. Some, just links to different things. There is a link in there to create your free MyCAP to kind of get in there, and so that when we do go live next week, you can be ready to go and jumping in there and playing around with it. So
the sorry, Anne Marie. One thing I
no.
did forget to share, and this is for premium members, is our member resources here.
Mhm.
So, we have the CAP Academy. This has stuff like we do our bi-weekly member-only workshops. We're really talking like inside baseball type of stuff. Our bi-weekly office hours. Every other Monday at 7 Eastern time, we'll have at least 2 of our experts on, really just to answer parent questions. Whereas the bi-weekly workshops, we're talking about something specific in addition to answering questions. Private Facebook community that's moderated by our experts. Here's our cute little name on Chat GPT. Cap GPT is really our AI resource. It's pretty stinking smart. We fed it all of our content, every one of our presentations, every one of our blogs, every one of our and everything. So you're going to be hard pressed to challenge any financial aid scholarship related question. You're probably going to get a really good answer here. So again, those are all member only resources. And it's our private scholarship search engine here. So it's really every private scholarship uh, in the country is housed in here, right? And they can, search by, again, all sorts of filters to hone in on what private scholarships might be worth. Um, that particular family applying to. So, yeah, that is something else
One
that.
thing
Mm.
I think we also, just a reminder that we'll continue through the summer with our webinar series on the second Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. So even when you're able to take a break, we're keeping those families in the loop and on their timeline so that when they come back, our hope is that when they come back in August or September, that that's one less thing that you have to stress over, that they are already sort of uh, dug in and kind of on track. So that would be our goal to help you with that.
Yep. Um, yeah, and I think that's largely it, guys, but we appreciate you tuning
Mhm.
in to learn more. Please help again share out our resources to your community. If you haven't met one-on-one yet with Anne Marie, please do. We just want to introduce ourselves,
Mhm.
share all the specifics about how we can support you in your school, learn more about your school. So oftentimes that when we learn, we can have some recommendations on how to best fill what your gaps or your pain points or whatever, right? We have kind of our standard ways that we partner with schools, but there's a whole bunch. Oh, actually, yeah, thank you, Anne Marie. Please especially let us know if you are if you use Power School, if you use Naviance in your district or in your school. We have broke ground on a technical integration with them, where now all your families are going to be able to access MyCAP through that platform that they're already in, but you have to sign off on it. We have to get permission. It's usually from the chief technology officer. There's different titles there, but something along those lines. Sometimes it's superintendent or the principal, but your district has to sign off on that. Um, and once they do, you will that all families as well as you all will have access to to College Aid Pro right within the platform. You don't have to partner with us or whatever. We'll just kind of show up in that experience. And Emery, do you remember if Dag sent it to me and you? Because the deck around Power School, because I can
I can
show that
look.
quickly. You can look real
Yeah,
quick for me if you. Oh, here we go. I got it.
found it.
So just to give you a quick visual for those of you that do partner with Power School currently, this is what's going to happen, right? Where um, we will show up kind of down here, just like in the experience, and once a family clicks on it, they can just put any college in there, right? They'll have to answer just a couple of questions. We will already have, because they're in Power School, a lot of their information pre-populated. So they'll just have to answer a couple things or confirm them yourselves. And then they say, yeah, show me the merit scholarships at this college. And whatever the college they've selected, it will, automatically populate. Here's all the scholarships that Ohio State or whatever college offers. And if you want to, um, see what we're projecting you to get, here it goes. And then from here, they'll have the option to say, hey, if you want all your need-based projections and things like that, at that point, they'll be encouraged to invite their parents if they want to get more than just the merit-based projection. So if you are a Power School user, yet there's no cost to you to pair it with Power School. There's no cost to the district, right? This is um, the economics of that happen between whatever you pay Power School, right, and our partnership with Power School. So there's no cost to the school or the district to have this set up. So thank you for that question. Literally, we just got to get permission, and you're off to the races. Um, okay, I'm sick of hearing myself talk. I've been speaking for about 5 hours today so far.
Well, we
Um,
will see everyone in
We'll
2 weeks.
see everyone
And
in 2 weeks. And like I
yeah,
said, we'll play hooky a couple times over the course of the summer. You probably won't miss
mhm.
us too much, but we got to go to the beach too, right, Am?
That's right. That's right. I'm ready.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye, everyone.